Today, we're looking at one of the absolute stunners of the night sky. But behind all that beauty, there's a secret, a cosmic case of mistaken identity that actually makes us question how we classify the universe itself.
And that's really the big question here. See, astronomers, we love our categories: spiral, elliptical, irregular. It helps us make sense of things. But every now and then, an object comes along that just refuses to play by our rules.
And here it is, Messier 104, but everyone knows it as the Sombrero Galaxy. It is a true celestial celebrity, and you can see why. That incredibly bright glowing core and that sharp dark dust lane that gives it its name. It looks so perfectly put together, but its looks are very, very deceiving.
Okay, let's really get into it. The whole problem with the Sombrero is that it's got the features of two totally different kinds of galaxies, all mashed into one. On one hand, it has that distinct disk and those dust lanes you see in a spiral galaxy, kind of like our own Milky Way. But it's also got the enormous size and other traits of an elliptical galaxy. So what on earth is it?
To really get your head around this puzzle, you have to appreciate just how big this thing is. M104 is an absolute monster. It's hanging out about 30 million light-years away, right on the edge of the Virgo cluster of galaxies, and it is easily one of the most massive things in its entire cosmic neighborhood. And that incredible size, that's our first big clue.
So now let's break down the evidence. We're going to be cosmic detectives here for a minute and really look at the conflicting clues that make this galaxy such a strange hybrid.
All right, so first a quick refresh. Over on the left, you've got your spiral galaxies. Think of flat spinning disks, those beautiful arms, and they're packed with gas and dust that's busy making new, young stars. Now on the right, you have elliptical galaxies. These are basically giant, roundish blobs of much, much older stars, and there's hardly any new star formation going on. Two completely different kinds of galaxies.
And this is where it gets really weird. The Sombrero checks boxes from both lists. It's got that classic dusty disk, total spiral trait, but that huge glowing bulge in the middle, its population of old stars, and the fact that it's not really making new stars, those are all textbook traits of a massive elliptical. Especially that last point, the one about the globular clusters. That's a huge piece of this puzzle.
Every good mystery needs a dramatic centerpiece. And in this cosmic whodunit, we find ours by looking right into the heart of the Sombrero, where there's a monster lurking in the dark.
Because when you manage to peer through all that starlight into the very center of that massive bulge, you find something truly enormous.
You find a supermassive black hole that is almost unbelievably huge, even for a galaxy this big. Yep, you're seeing that right. 1 billion times the mass of our Sun. This is one of the heftiest black holes we've ever found in a galaxy nearby. And a black hole this gigantic is almost always found in a giant elliptical galaxy, not a spiral. So that's another major point for Team Elliptical.
But wait, here's the twist. For a monster of this size, it's incredibly quiet. That fancy phrase, radiative quiescence, basically means it's not eating. It's not actively gobbling up tons of matter and blasting out radiation. It's like a sleeping giant. And that just raises even more questions about what this galaxy has been through.
To get more answers, we need to find some witnesses. Some really ancient witnesses that have been orbiting the Sombrero for billions of years. We need to look at the galaxy's fossils, its globular clusters.
So, what are globular clusters? Well, they're these super dense, spherical swarms of hundreds of thousands of really, really old stars. And because they're so ancient, they're like little time capsules. They're cosmic fossils that hold clues about how their home galaxy came to be. If you can study them, you can basically reconstruct the past. And get this, the Sombrero has a staggering number of them, almost 2,000. Just to put that in perspective, our Milky Way has maybe 150. A huge system of globular clusters like this is, again, a signature feature of a giant elliptical galaxy. The evidence is really starting to pile up, isn't it?
This chart just perfectly shows the incredible work that went into this. Every single one of those dots is a globular cluster, whose speed and position has been carefully measured. By tracking the orbits of hundreds of these little fossils, astronomers can start to piece together the life story of the galaxy.
And wow, what a story it tells. Turns out, the orbits of these clusters aren't simple and neat at all. They suggest that the Sombrero Galaxy wasn't just born this way, it was built. It grew to this massive size through a pretty violent history of crashing into and eating other smaller galaxies over billions of years.
All right, we've examined the body, we've found the monster at its heart, and we've listened to the ancient witnesses. It's time to pull all the evidence together and deliver the final verdict on the Sombrero Galaxy.
Let's just quickly recap the case. 1. We have the hybrid body, a spiral's disk with an elliptical's bulge. 2. We have the quiet giant, a billion solar mass black hole, way too big for a normal spiral. 3. The ancient witnesses, thousands of globular clusters that tell a story of a violent, merger-filled past. The conclusion here is pretty clear. Our old labels just aren't going to work.
So based on everything we've seen, the scientific consensus is in. The Sombrero is best described as something called a lenticular galaxy. You can kind of think of it as a galaxy that might have started out as a spiral, but it's used up pretty much all of its gas and dust, so it can't make new stars anymore. It's got the disk of a spiral, but the old stars and massive core of an elliptical. It's a true bridge between those two worlds.
This quote from the research just sums it all up perfectly. The Sombrero isn't one thing or the other. It lives in that gray area between our neat little classifications. It's a beautiful reminder that the universe is always way more complex and way more interesting than the boxes we try to stuff it into.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. The Sombrero is one of the most famous, most studied galaxies out there, and it still managed to throw us a curveball. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge cosmic mysteries are just out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to look just a little bit closer?